Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the Leader of the House for the statement, which I think we've only just received about 2 minutes before I came into the chamber, and certainly I'm not sure how much discussion there was with the usual channels. Certainly, the business managers have not seen the content of the motion, and I would like further clarity on behalf of the whole House whether this is in fact the meaningful vote 3. I understand what the leader said about complying with the Speaker's ruling. I don't know if, Mr. Speaker, you've had any discussions about the motion or whether this is in fact the meaningful vote 3. I understand the government have to comply with what the EU have said, but there was a bit of kind of we need more clarity on what exactly this motion is about, what exactly is, whether it is the meaningful, whether it is the agreement, whether it is the full package, or exactly what it is. And I don't think this is, again, the way to conduct business in the House on such an important matter. I mean, the leader has given the times, but only just. There are people who have to make adjustments to their I'm not talking about members, I'm talking about the staff of this House, the doorkeepers and all the civil servants. But I do want to touch on and to say thank you, Mr. Speaker. There was a new process yesterday, and I thought the staff, clerks and all the staff of the House rose to the occasion. It was actually very smooth. We voted in the correct lobbies and we voted on the green sheets, which makes a nice change from the pink sheets. But nevertheless, it was smooth, and I thank them for working late to get the result to us on time, and we waited patiently for that. Yesterday was quite an interesting time. It was sort of like a confluence, not just about process, but to me it was a confluence of process and principle. And we know that the House can do that, and we know that the House can be a modernising place. The Leader of the House yesterday will have heard that opposition calls for an opposition day. Could she announce, could she say when the next opposition day will be? This is a 2-year session. And my honourable friend, the member for Battersea, I'm not sure if the leader was in the House yesterday when my honourable friend made a point of order about the Minister for Disabled People. I don't think that person has been appointed. I understand the Minister has stepped up today with the urgent question today, but I don't think he is the Minister for Disabled People. There are 13.9 million disabled people who need a Minister who will champion their needs. And I don't know if the leader is aware that we've had 7 since 2010. There are also a number of other vacancies. My honourable friend, the member for North East Bedfordshire, the member for Winchester and Watford have all resigned their positions. Their key roles, Middle East and North Africa, public health and primary care, and business and industry, and a number of PPSs have also resigned. I think it's about time we have an updated list of ministerial responsibilities. I wonder if the leader could provide that. Mr. Speaker, the leader, I'm sure, will have been aware of this survey carried out by Sir John Curtis for the independent agency, the National Centre for Social Research, one of the few people who call the elections, the correct result of the elections. He found that 85% of those who voted Remain, 80% of those who voted Leave in 2016 think that the government has handled Brexit badly. And amongst our voters, just 7% believe that the government has handled Brexit well. The government keeps saying to us this is the mandate from the people, but I think all honourable members will know that the government have had no problem in U-turning on their manifesto commitments. Like, I'll give 2 examples: means test on winter fuel payments, and just 4 days after the manifesto was published, they U-turned on the so-called dementia tax. Yesterday, the Prime Minister in Prime Minister's Question Time says we have a deal that cancels our EU membership. That's not strictly correct, because in the withdrawal agreement it is littered of how we have to pay into the EU to secure the benefits. I'll give her an example: communication infrastructure, page 51 of the agreement of March 2019. I say that because the European Parliament voted earlier this month to guarantee funding for UK students who are already on the Erasmus Plus programme. In the event of a no deal, they promised to supporting European students in the UK on that scheme. There are now 17,000 students here who plan to study in Europe under Erasmus Plus. They still face the uncertainty of whether they can do that from September. So where is the government's commitment to our future, those students who want to work in the EU? Can we have a statement from the Secretary of State whether funding for those students will be guaranteed? And, Mr. Speaker, I've heard nothing in any statement about the revelations in The Guardian that the government have spent £12 million for a penthouse for the trade envoy. Could we have a statement on whether that was public money, that public money has been properly spent, and are we going to spend that sort of money in all the countries where we have a trade envoy? And when will the government respond to the report on the Joint Committee for Human Rights, chaired by my honourable friend, the member for Camberwell and Peckham? They concluded that more than 3 million Europeans living in Britain would be left in legal limbo after Brexit. The committee proposed amendments to the Immigration and Social Security Coordination EU Withdrawal Bill. Can we have a statement from the government as to whether they will be protected? And could we have a timetable on the progress of the key legislation that needs to pass through Parliament before exit day? Now, Mr. Speaker, Monday, the 25th of March, was International Day of Remembrance for victims of slavery and transatlantic slave trade. It is vital that we remember this history and treat everyone equally. My honourable friend, the member for Manchester Gorton, raised at PMQs yesterday that 15 Conservative councillors were suspended for posting racist or Islamophobic content online and have now been let back into the party. They referred to some of their members referred to people as cavemen and the Saudis as sand peasants and compared Asian people to dogs. Mr. Speaker, a man puts on an England shirt, scores a goal and is racially abused. We stand with Raheem Sterling.